Dear participants, welcome to my presentation. My name is Florian Sanden, and I'm Policy Coordinator at INIL, the European Network on Independent Living. INIL is a Europe-wide cross-disability NGO run by disabled people, working for the full inclusion of disabled people in society. As Policy Coordinator, it is my task to formulate political demands and communicate them to politicians. Today, I'm going to talk about personal assistance in Europe. To do so, I would like to present some key results of our independent living survey. Since the survey is rather long, up to 72 pages, I will not present a complete report, but rather a selection of important results. The INIL Independent Living Survey was a study we conducted between 2020 and 2022. The objectives were to collect general information about access to independent living in Europe and specific information about personal assistance schemes and systems. The survey targeted countries within the Council of Europe area and consisted of questionnaires with 75 questions on the PA scheme within the country. It was disseminated online through the INIL website, the newsletter, and social media. A total of 143 responses were received. The responses came from disabled people and PA users. The responses from 43 countries were included in the analysis. According to our data, access to personal assistance in Europe is slowly improving. In 2020, respondents from 33 countries reported to have PA schemes in place. In 2022, this figure increased to 35 countries. Albania and Greece joined a group of countries offering the service. Greece is at the moment running a pilot project for a limited number of disabled people. Within the EU, only 2 countries, Hungary and Luxembourg, do not have PA schemes. According to latest information, Hungary is now planning a pilot project too. The first question asked respondents how they would describe access to personal assistance in their country and to rate PA scheme as adequate, requiring improvement, or inadequate. Respondents from 13 countries rated their nation's PA scheme as inadequate. 20 countries said it requires improvement. Only 1 country, Slovenia, rated its PA scheme as adequate. These results imply that many disabled people who need personal assistance remain excluded, or that the quality of provision does not enable self-determination and independent living. Also, the UNCPD requires state parties to provide personal assistance to disabled people with support needs. In question 2, respondents were asked to select all that is true about the PA provision in their country. The scheme is delivered as a pilot project. The scheme is codified in regional or local legislation. The provision of personal assistance under the scheme is recognized as a right. The scheme is included as one item, service, within a more general legislation. The scheme is codified in a separate national law. In 7 countries, the PA scheme is delivered as a pilot project. Those countries are Ireland, Croatia, Greece, Cyprus, Italy, Lithuania, and Portugal. In Ireland, personal assistance has been running as a pilot project for 28 years. In Croatia, for 10 years. It is unclear whether the governments of these countries have plans to install permanent PA schemes. In countries which place implementation under the authority of regional or local authorities, quality of service provision can vary considerably. Respondents from Denmark and Norway reported significant variation according to the local authority in whose influence area you live. The third question touched upon the vital issue if disabled people living in residential care settings have the possibility to apply for personal assistance. 25 out of 34 countries do not allow disabled people living in residential care to apply for PA. Only 9 countries, Finland, Germany, the Netherlands, Norway, Slovenia, Cyprus, Austria, Azerbaijan, and Belgium allow this. Countries not providing this option is a huge problem. If disabled people cannot apply for personal assistance under the scheme, that does not provide for an alternative to institutions. Question 4 asks whether there are restrictions on what personal assistance can be used for. 26 out of 35 countries place restrictions on what PA can be used for. This might mean that assistants are not allowed to perform tasks related to healthcare. That assistance can only be provided inside the person's home, not outside, or that there is a predefined list of tasks that the assistants can perform. Placing restrictions on what PA can be used for is not in line with the UNCPD, and it limits the choice and control of the disabled person. Without the freedom to assign tasks and deciding where and when the service is to be delivered, personal assistance does not live up to its purpose to allow recipients to have the same choices as a non-disabled person. 8 countries have such restrictions in place. Those countries are Belgium, Cyprus, Poland, Montenegro, Greece, Bulgaria, Iceland, and Lithuania. Question 6 asks whether PA is paid through direct payments, such as personal budgets. Personal budgets are one of the most important features of personal assistance, which promotes independent living. It gives the recipient the liberty in choosing who is to provide the assistance and make it clear for the assistant who the employer is. 19 countries do direct payments. 13 do not. It is good that the majority of countries is working with personal budgets, but the number that doesn't is still quite high. Respondents from 30 countries reported that the funding provided to purchase PA is not sufficient to cover all the user's needs and practice. Personal assistance is supposed to enable the recipient to live like a non-disabled person. If users have to pay a share of the costs out of pocket, this might lead to financial constraints, reduce self-determination, or makes personal assistance unaffordable. On the other hand, in 4 countries, the funding provided covers all the recipient's needs and practice. Those countries are Slovenia, Georgia, Finland, and Denmark. Which types of impairments are eligible for personal assistance? Many countries prioritize disabled people with certain types of impairments and discriminate against others. Persons with physical impairments are eligible for PA in 32 countries, almost all countries included in the survey. 29 countries offer personal assistance to people with sensory impairments, and 27 to people with cognitive impairments. Only 24 of 21 countries offer the service to people with psychosocial disabilities. Personal assistance schemes are typically directed at persons of working age 18 to 65, who have access to PA in 30 countries. Children are permitted access in 18 countries. Persons over 65 have a hard time in accessing PA. Only 15 countries allow this type of service. Prioritizing certain impairments over others is discriminatory and not in line with the UNCPD. Disabled people of all types of impairments and of all ages must have access to personal assistance. Question 18 asked whether the number of assistance hours per user is limited. In 5 countries, the number of assistance hours per recipient is unlimited and depends solely on individual needs. Those countries are Albania, Germany, Scotland, Iceland, and Sweden. In the Czech Republic, personal assistance is currently only available for 4 to 5 hours per day. The limit in Slovenia is 80 hours per week. Disabled people with support needs which exceed this limit might have no choice but to rely on family members or to move to an institution. The information we gathered show a rather mixed picture when it comes to the state of PA in Europe. Based on our analysis, we can derive recommendations to governments. What do governments have to do to improve access to personal assistance? First of all countries should introduce personal assistance schemes. The countries who do not have PA schemes yet, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Armenia, San Marino, Luxembourg, Hungary, Turkey, Ukraine, and Belarus, should urgently introduce PA schemes. Especially the EU members Luxembourg and Hungary need to introduce personal assistance. Governments need to ensure their PA schemes are well funded, so all applicants who qualify can become PA recipients depending only on their need. 3, ensure a provision of uniformly high quality wherever the PA recipient resides within the country's territory. A centralized administration of the country's PA scheme might be preferable. 4, disabled people living in residential settings need to have access to the PA scheme and receive support in applying and passing the eligibility process. Becoming a PA recipient is a major opportunity for disabled people to leave institutional confinement and to exercise their right to live in the community. 5, countries need to lift all restrictions on what PA can be used for. Recipients need to be free to decide when their assistant is needed, inside or outside the home, what the assistant is supposed to do that given day. It must be permitted for assistants to also perform healthcare-related tasks. 6, resources for the PA need to be dispersed directly to the disabled person in the form of direct payments, such as personal budgets. Governments need to ensure a low administrative threshold and should finance centers of independent living or PA user cooperatives to support recipients in working with their personal budgets. 7, the funding needs to cover all needs in practice. 8, governments need to provide equal access to PA to disabled persons with all types of impairments, including physical, cognitive, sensory, psychosocial, and neurodivergent. In addition, personal assistance needs to be available to persons under 18 and over 65. Supported decision-making must be provided to those people that need it for managing their PA. 9. The number of assistance hours per recipient needs to depend solely on individual needs. The full report summarizing the Independent Living Survey contains many more graphs and information. You can find the summary report online under the link I included in the presentation. In addition, we produced country sheets summarizing the information on personal assistance in all 43 countries included in the survey. You can find these sheets also online under the link provided. Thank you for your attention. I'm looking forward to the discussion.